Hello everyone, welcome to Behind the Scenes Selfhelp Voices. I'm your host, Irong. As we step into April, we are celebrating National Volunteer Month. Volunteers are important in our community, especially our virtual senior center. This month, we are excited to bring you some stories, from those who've been with us for over 10 years to those who are retired and contribute their time to our members, and also the young generation who brings fresh energy to us. We invite you to join us in celebrating together. Show our volunteers your appreciation by giving them a shout out on social media, or by sharing your feedback on the classes they lead. Our volunteers appreciate the work that goes into leading classes you love. Our guest today is Cindy, and she will graduate from Cornell University this year and is applying for a medical school. And she teaches everyday technology for beginners at our virtual senior center. And Cindy has been with us since June 2020 and is diligent about leading classes. And we are now talking online. And welcome, Cindy. Would you like to introduce a little bit about yourself to our audience, like your name, what do you teach, and how long you've been with VSC?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Cindy, and as mentioned, I'm a group facilitator for Selfhelp's Virtual Senior Center, and I teach everyday technology for beginners. So it's just a beginner-friendly class for people who just want to learn a little bit more about technology. Yeah, as mentioned also, I've been volunteering for VSC since June 2020, so it's been almost 4 years. In terms of what I've been doing recently, after graduation from college, I've just been working as a medical assistant for a regenerative medicine and integrative pain management clinic. So I'm just currently in my gap year for medical school and just focusing on applications at the moment.
Great. That's very brief and clear to our audience. Give our audience a little sneak on what you are doing now and what you are volunteering. So yeah, thank you for bringing this introduction. It's very nice to have the young generation in our community, like adding some fresh colors to our community. Since you've been with us for 4 years, this is also related to our next question. How did you initially come to volunteer, and why do you volunteer here?
So I found out about Virtual Senior Center through researching on the internet. So it was June 2020, so it was kind of near the start of the pandemic in 2020, right? I didn't think it was just older adults, but everybody at that moment was feeling a little bit disconnected. And we all had to stay inside, and the only way we could really communicate with others was through online means.
Yes.
And I especially felt like older adults who were homebound, they were especially like disconnected or more likely to be disconnected. Personally, I feel like just living at home with my grandma, like I saw that happening through my personal experience. So when I found out about the Virtual Senior Center, I really liked the mission behind it. So I connected with the volunteer coordinator, Carmela, and then she kind of talked with me, and then that's how I just became a volunteer as a group facilitator for VSC.
Recall back me to 2020. During the pandemic, everyone feel disconnected and trying to be more active online and to see if they can have some connections through the virtual communities. I think that starts for the whole connections later in these 4 years. Camilla told me that you graduated this year and also applied for the medical school, and you teach the technology class at VSC. So I'm really surprised that you have so many interests in different fields. So can I know why you choose to provide the technology class to our members?
I mean, in terms of technology, I wouldn't say I'm not like a computer science major or whatever, so I'm not like the most advanced. But I would say, like, I guess as a Gen Z person, I grew up with technology starting from when I was young in my childhood. So I recognize that a lot of the things that I find that are intuitive, I find that I grew up with, may not be the case for other people. And I see that reflected in my grandma. I see that reflected in the students in BSc. I guess that's why I thought it was pretty cool to teach technology. I mean, a lot of the things I went over, for instance, email, like this is something that I use on a regular basis, but this was not always all like around during a lot of the students' times. And then they're learning it for the first time. Even though my career isn't really in technology, it is still a part of my life. And I'm just happy to teach it because everybody has to start from somewhere.
Yes, yes, understandable. Because we are living in a digital age, I need to learn these technology things. In 2020, my grandma was at our home, and at that time, I also taught her how to use some basic apps on smartphones and how to play games on the laptop. He likes some small games on laptop, and that makes her feel very well every day during the pandemic. Yes, I bet our members also like this technology class because it helped them to get used to this digital age. Since we are talking about your class, so can you tell us what your preparation process is and what impresses you most when you are teaching?
Yeah, so in terms of my preparation process, it's pretty spontaneous for me. I kind of go with whatever people are either interested in from last class. So sometimes I ask for suggestions in the beginning of class, and people give me suggestions on what they're interested in learning. So I try to integrate that in, or whatever I feel like is cool at the moment that I wanted to share. So really anything can go. And then I just kind of like share my screen and then we go through it step by step in a very introductory way. So people can maybe, if they're interested, explore it later on in their free time. But the guidelines that I do keep in mind is I try to make sure that it's accessible to everyone. So I know that there's a lot of people who have their own devices, a lot of smart devices. So like they have their own iPhones or they have their own laptops or whatever, but there's also some people who are borrowing devices from VSC. A lot of the stuff on there might have limitations. So for instance, I believe I was told that the devices that if you borrowed from VSC, you can download things on there. So I just try to keep that in mind that the lesson should be applicable to anybody who has access to the internet and hopefully is free. So like Google and YouTube, those are always good topics to talk about. And another thing is just making sure that the lessons are generally applicable. For instance, as I mentioned before, Gmail, everybody who is enrolled in VSC has their own Gmail account created for them in order to even like access it, right? Gmail, because everybody has that, that means it's an important lesson to go over because at some point you're probably going to see it. And anything that you can do with a Gmail account, such as using YouTube or using Google Calendar, those are all accessible to everybody and also applicable. And another thing to note is there's other technology classes. It's not just my own, but I think my class in general is what lets me have a little bit of flexibility in my preparation process because people can always interrupt me if they have any relevant questions and just give their input if they want the explanation to be a little bit more clear or they want to talk about something else.
Yes, yes. So through your words, I can feel that you really break the guidance in very simple steps or break it into very details so our members can follow you up. Also, like you make sure whether they have the access to those things. So I think that very careful and patient to our audience. I think that it impresses me a lot. Like teach them step by step and make sure they understand you. So, is there anything impresses you when you are teaching?
Yeah, so I think because my class is geared towards beginners, but anybody can join, of course. The thing that impresses me the most is just openness to learning and just asking questions if you're confused and also showing initiative to learn a new skill, even though it might be unfamiliar or scary to learn in the first place. So for instance, I think there was like a student who came in one day and then they were like, oh, I'd never even used a smartphone or a laptop before this class. This is literally the first class I'm joining after I made like an account for VSC. And then I'm sure she attended other like classes on BSc as well. But then the next week she came in and she started saying terminology like pop-up window and cookie, and I was just so impressed by that. I just thought it was really cool that people were so open to learning new things. And yeah, I think I should learn from that as well, to just be open to learning a new skill that I'm not familiar with and I didn't grow up with. So it's scary at times, but I'm very impressed that and proud that people are willing to learn new things.
I can really feel that because through my conversations with other volunteers, they all mention the members or students, they are very passionate about new things and they are not afraid of learning new things and they want to try everything the facilitators or volunteers mention in the class.
Right.
So yeah, I think this is also I need to learn from them, like try some new things in life. Yes, I also kind of feel that you put lots of effort and passion into this process and want to bring the members the best of you. And I'm currently writing the newsletters for VSC. So every time we'll mention that if our members or students would like to give some feedbacks to our volunteers and facilitators. So did you receive any feedback? Like how does volunteering make you feel?
Volunteering just makes me feel really connected to the community. I think most of the VSC students are like based in New York City and New Jersey, but there are also some in other places, like for instance, Chicago, I think. I just feel like I've learned a lot from them, just as they've learned from me in terms of experiences and just things that they want to share in their life. And personally, it's also helped with my confidence because I feel like I'm a pretty shy and soft-spoken person. Like if you meet me outside of the computer, right? Occasionally, I think Carmela shares like feedbacks that they get from the students back with me, and then just reading it through, like saying like, "Oh, this is a very nice and informative lesson." Oh, it just makes me feel a lot more confident in my speaking skills and my presenting skills. So it's really helped me in terms of like connecting with people and also in terms of my self-confidence.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Like positive feedback always give us confidence in doing something or insist on doing something. So here I also want to say to our members and students, like thank you for giving this positive feedback on our volunteers. Like this really encourage our volunteers and facilitators and also help them to provide better classes in the future and think different ideas for our members. So yeah, thank you so much. So yes, through your words and I can really feel your passion and how volunteering makes you feel great. So comes to our last question. Is there anything else you would like to share with us about your experience volunteering?
Not much. I guess I just wish I knew about it earlier. I didn't know that there was such a program. From what I know, VSC existed long before the pandemic, but I guess like the pandemic really like kind of forced everybody to kind of look for opportunities online. So I'm really glad that I found this through just further research. I just wanted to express my respect in like all the facilitators that help support the program and also all the students and older adults who are on the program trying to learn new things, and also the staff who just make everything run smoothly on there. So I think it takes a really big team effort in volunteering, but it's really worth it in the end.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your words. So yeah, I'm happy that you found VSC through the internet research because it's a long time. After the pandemic, we can also feel that this online community help people a lot. Here, I also want to say if anyone, any of our audience hear this episode, so welcome to signing up our volunteer at Virtual Senior Center. It's a really great community to join. So yeah, thank you so much, Cindy, for joining me and recording this episode together. And these are all very attractive stories. So, and again, I can feel volunteering means a lot to you and also encourage you. So hopefully our audience can feel it as well. And this is the end of the episode, and I hope you enjoy your day and have more interest in learning volunteer stories in April. So see you next time.
Thank you for listening. If you're interested in any topics, you can leave a comment or find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you next time.